The Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. Current events talk, lifestyle talk. That's what we do here. The kind of talk radio that I don't believe is heard anywhere else because, talk radio is only about politics and stuff, and I hate that. Washington, D.C. We live here in North Texas. And although we do have the benefit of streaming to anywhere, we should only be caring about the issues concerning us here in North Texas. That's what I say. Talk radio. It's supposed to be about the community. With that said, we are going to talk about a whole bunch of other things, but we're going to talk about it from North Texas, which makes it inherently local. The show itself plays out as a stream of consciousness. This is because I have no partners, have no ensembles, have no wacky zoo crew, no breaks, no commercials, no nothing. Just me for the next couple of hours talking about the world, talking about all the hot topics and current events, talking about all the things that happened on this day, talking about, all kinds of nonsense. What we do is I try to give you the entire day. I try to tell you everything that you need to know about today. Here's how I imagine it, right? What is this show for? This show is so that you don't sit down to dinner with your family and you have nothing to talk about. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of topics. I'm even going to give you starters on how to feel about it. But ultimately, I want you all to feel the way you feel. Don't let me influence you. Who am I? That's the other thing. I'm a talk radio host, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert. I'm just a guy who's loud, semi-articulate, who does a stream every day for 3 years. And that stream, the stream of consciousness, the rant, if you will, plays out in 4 segments. As I said, stream of consciousness, so I need 4 segments to keep me hemmed in. 4 different segments play out like this. The first one, we call it Antecedently on This Day. It's a look back at history. Quarter 2 is birthdays, people born on this day. You know what that is. Quarter 3, deads. Yeah, people who died on this day, celebrities, notable quotables, historical figures. If they died on this day, we're going to decide where they go, heaven or hell. That's quarter 3. I like that one because you get to stand in judgment. You get to feel powerful. Quarter 4 is hot topics. Quarter 4 is everything else. Or shall we on this very day call them cold topics? See what I did there? Cold topics. You may notice from the way I'm dressed, I'm a bit out of uniform. Every day I try to do the show in a similar look. Why? Yeah, for editing purposes. I've never edited anything. I've been doing it for 2 years now, dressing the same way. Never edited anything, but it was a good idea on paper. Just never edited anything. Point is, today I'm not. I'm dressed for winter, man. I'm dressed because it is cold here at the E Gallery studio. Not terribly cold. Got to be honest. I walked in and I was expecting worse. I was expecting it to be worse. Here in Texas, it's very cold, and we'll talk about that. That's one of the big stories. The cold. 90 cities in these here United States are experiencing record cold on this morning. We're one of them. Texas, Dallas, anyway. So the heat here, you have to understand about the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios at the E Gallery. It's expansive, very big. A lot of space for events, a lot of space for big parties, all of them coming soon. Problem is, on extreme days, the heat in the air doesn't really work all that great, but on the extreme days, so it's very cold. Here, so I will be dressed appropriately. Not that cold. I got to be honest with you. I don't want you to think that it's like, we're not doing the show here in 38-degree temperatures inside, right? No, it's like 15 outside, but it's in the 40s. Let's be optimistic and say 50. It's 50 in here. Let's say that. Still a little bit cold. So we're going to keep things moving. Let's say hi to the chat room. We got Peter in the chat room. Hiya, Peter. We got the Sports Bras. We got Jen. Cece, of course, Sports Bras. Jeff Ballard. We got Mikey D. Taranda's, of course, here. Who was first? Let me go all the way back to the beginning of the chat room to see who gets credit for being in here first. Taranda was first. I shan't be surprised. All right, what do I got for you? I'll tell you, walking the dog in this weather sucks. My dog is a Catahoula Stafford bully, a hooly bully, as they're called. She's a Louisiana dog. She's genetically built for swamps and humidity and like fighting alligators and chasing bears and stuff like that. That's what she's bred to do. She's a swamp dog. She's even got webbed feet. She's not bothered at all by this cold. This morning I wake up, I go out, I take her out for my morning walk, right? Her morning walk, my morning walk. It's my morning torture. It's cold as hell. She doesn't want to, she's dicking around. She's dicking around. You know, when it's cold outside or raining or whatever the situation is and you're walking the dog and the dog is not cooperating, the dog is dicking around like the dog is interested in another dog that's in the window instead of sniffing. Yeah, we went through that. That's also, I got to tell you, I had a very nice experience this morning. It's not a nice experience. It's a nice memory, but it's an experience that I don't get to have very much living here in North Texas, but an experience that I came to expect every single day during the wintertime growing up in the Midwest. And here's what I got to experience today that I don't think people in Texas or North Texas really have an appreciation for. I've owned cars that are made by Japanese automakers, American automakers, and German automakers. Japanese, German. Yeah, those are the three kinds of cars I've owned. All right. So I've owned cars made by Japanese automakers, German automakers, and American automakers. And it's on mornings like today that I am reminded nobody builds heating units in cars like American automakers. Dude, my Japanese car took forever for the heat to get working. It sucked. I'm like, don't they have cold weather in Japan? It sucked. The German car, you would think the German car, both a BMW and a Volkswagen, you would think that they would have. No, the German car sucked. But this morning I was reminded, because it takes a while. And as I say, here in North Texas, maybe you don't have appreciation for this, but it typically takes about 10 to 15 minutes for your car to get fully warmed up, like with the heat blowing, that good American heat. It takes like a German car like 25 minutes to a half hour. It takes a Japanese car even longer for the heat to get working. Not good old American-made cars. That's why I drive a Chevy. My Chevy took a good 5 to 10 minutes before that heat was cranking this morning. So that was fun. You gotta sit, man. You gotta sit. What are you gonna do? You're gonna get halfway to work freezing your balls off? Gripping the frozen steering wheel before your heat kicks in? No! Start the car, go inside, have a cup of coffee, do whatever you want. Come out to a car that is completely hot and blowing, and oh my God, that's the way to do it. So I got to have that experience today, and I didn't think I'd have that much. Texas, it's like 150 degrees here in March. So, I didn't expect to have that heat experience. It reminded me of being younger. Reminded me of living somewhere else and being like, oh, crap. Frozen steering wheel drive in the morning. How are you guys doing today? Are you home? Is school? Are your kids home from school? My kids home from school. Just randomly call them. I should just call them. Now, what if he is in school, though? You know what? I don't care. I'll find out later. I'll find out this afternoon if he went to school today or not. I see that there are a lot of schools here in North Texas that are closed, though. Why not? There's only like 10 weeks. And by the way, when I say 10, I think I'm being real fucking generous. I think it might more be like 6. There's only like 10 weeks in a school year now where kids go to school 5 consecutive days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So of course. So why not? Of course, kids are probably off school today because it got cold. Al's in the chat room. He's saying, hello, amigo. I'm at work. Kids at school here in Fort Worth. Okay, good. They went to school. All right, let's get started today. Let's get the rant beginning because, it's cold and I'm trying to, speed this thing along. I'll give you the full 2 hours. That is my promise to you, the fine citizen of the chat room. But it's cold. I'm just going to tell you, we're going to keep moving here. All right, let's go. Let's start the rant. I am Pugs Moran. Kelly Moore Memorial Studios is where we do this from. It is the 19th day of February, year of our Lord, 2025. February 19th is the 50th day. 50 days! 50th day of the year. 315 remain, so get those New Year's Eve plans started. We like to say on this show, we have 4 quarters, and the first one is antecedently on this day. That's a look back at history, just a fancy way of saying this day in history. So let's get into it. All right, antecedently on this day, year of our Lord, 1807, former Vice President of the United States, Aaron Burr, is arrested for treason in Wakefield, Alabama, and confined to Fort Stoddard. Is this something I should know? Is this, do we know this? Like, is this like a story? Like, it is just like a blind spot for me in American history? I didn't know he was arrested for treason. I thought did he kill Hamilton or did Hamilton kill him? I don't care. I don't care. These are lesser founding fathers that all of a sudden this generation, because of a Broadway play, has elevated to the status of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, and I ain't taking it. I don't know anything about Aaron Burr. Treason on this day in 1807. Antecedently on this day in 1846, right here in Austin, Texas, here's a big day for us. Texas Day. Hey, hey! The newly formed Texas state government is officially installed. The Republic of Texas government officially transfers power to the state of Texas government following the annexation of Texas by these here United States. Happy birthday, Texas. Welcome to the party. I dare say, with the possible exception of California, no single state has added more to the greatness of this union than Texas. And it was on this day in 1846 that Texas began their contribution, their immeasurable contribution to the greatness of this country. Eagles. We have Eagles because of Texas. Antecedently on this day in 1963, the publication of Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique reawakens the feminist movement in the United States. As women's organizations and consciousness-raising groups spread from coast to coast. Ah, yeah. All right, so this is fun. I love this because there are 2 pivotal people here in the women's movement. Maybe you don't know who Betty Friedan is, but she is the George Washington of the women's movement. Of women's lib, the feminine mystique. Oh my God! On this day in '63, that book blew the legs wide open of ladies from coast to coast. Betty Friedan was considered the most important female spokesperson of the era. And she had books, and she would go on talk shows, and she was very important. And then the whole women's movement became kind of a business. It started, we didn't have social media, how we have influencers now who've made a business out of a movement. But back then there was a slight business being created out of the movement. And guess what they discovered? They discovered that Betty Friedan was ugly. Oh my God, you can't put Betty Friedan on TV talking about women's issues. She's ugly. That's not me saying it. That's basically the opinion of those, I don't know, deep state actors who put together all of these women. No. Betty Friedan was a legitimate author who had these beliefs, and she fostered a movement. But unfortunately, when it became time to make that movement something that was televised in living rooms across the country, they decided that she was a hard woman to look at. So guess what they did? They manufactured a new leader of the women's movement who was fucking hot. Gloria Steinem enters the pictures, ladies and gentlemen, and all of a sudden Gloria Steinem is everywhere. And let me tell you, Betty Friedan did not like it. Betty Friedan did not approve of the women's movement being taken over by this young hottie, Gloria Steinem. Anyway, it was on this day. The origins of the women's movement began with the publication of Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique on this day in 1963. Now, yeah, there's a lot of good stories about the war between Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem. And I'm telling you, it would make a great movie, great miniseries. I wouldn't watch it because I'm a guy, but you know what I mean? For women and stuff, they might be interested in it. Women can't get along. I've been saying this forever. Women cannot get along. It just doesn't work. I'm sorry. Every woman I've ever dated at various points of our relationship have been at absolute war with their best friend. All the time. My best friend, I can't believe it. She sucks. Meanwhile, I'm going through life with the same dudes I met in 8th grade. I'm like, guys are like, yeah, I'm riding or dying with these crew. These are my guys. Girls go through friends all the time. She's a bitch. Well, that's basically what happened with Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem and the entire women's movement. Antecedently on this day in the year 1976, Executive Order 9066. 9066 led to the relocation of Japanese Americans to internment camps is rescinded on this day by Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford said, a couple of decades too late. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're not putting Japs in camps anymore. It's 1976. We don't need to do that. Antecedently on this day in the year 2002, NASA's Mars Odyssey space probe begins to map the surface of Mars using its thermal emission imaging system. Cool. Elon Musk says he wants to die on Mars. Hey, man, I hope he does. I hope he does. I hope Elon Musk dies on Mars because I want to go to Mars. That means we made it. Like, I hope he dies on Mars after like living there for a little while, right? Like, I don't want him to crash land into Mars and then, humans can't exist. I don't want that. But, if he wants to die on Mars, that's pretty good. I'm all for it. You die on Mars, dude. Be the first person to die on Mars. Well, here's the thing. He won't be the first person to die on Mars. He might be the one that history chooses to remember as the first, but he's not going to be the first. Trust me. A whole lot of poor people are going to die on Mars long before the likes of Elon Musk go there. I promise you that. All right, let's do birthdays. Here we go. These are people celebrating birthdays today. They claim it's their birthday. It's my birthday too, yeah. All right, I don't know if it's really their birthday, but these are published reports. What am I going to do? I'm going to call their moms. Is it true? Is it true that on this day, dead Queen Elizabeth, you gave birth in 1960 to Prince Andrew? Prince Andrew. See the ped? See which one? Okay, I got to run these down. I used to know all these guys. I used to have the pecking order, the line of succession. I used to know all that shit. All right, who do we got? We got Charles. He's king now. Okay, so he's the eldest son of Queen Elizabeth. Then I think there's like an Edward. There's like an Edward in there that nobody pays any attention to because he's neither king nor a pedophile. Yeah, there's him. Then there's like an Anne, right? Isn't there a Princess Anne? There's a girl squeezed in there somewhere. And then you got Andrew. I think Andrew's the youngest, born on this day in 1960. He's the one that's, he likes Epstein and young girls. All right. Born on this day in 1960. Born on this day in 1963, Seal, the singer. Good. I don't know any Seal. I don't like Seal. What is that stuff? What the Seal music? Like, take me back to like 1989 and put a Seal song on. I'm walking out of the room. Not that I hate it or anything. It's just not my thing. I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't need this. And what was up with Seal's face, right? Seal's face. That was always the thing. It's like, why did he get to be famous? He's ugly. He's disfigured. That's not me saying it. That's society in general. But he became famous. Seal, with this thing. And then there are all these stories. That's a mark of the Zulu tribe that he was a warrior king of. I'm like, oh, bullshit. That ain't true. That's like some kind of smallpox vaccine problem. I don't know what it is. Anyway, he sang songs and he married Heidi Klum, so things worked out for him. He did a Super Bowl commercial where it was a regular Seal singing Seal songs, but it had Seal's face, so that's cool. Happy birthday, Seal. Born on this day in 1963. Got nothing else. Born on this day in 1966. I like this chick because she's a bitch. She's a cool-ass bitch. And I think that if I could get in a relationship with her, I would get along great with her brother. I'm talking about birthday girl, Justine Bateman. I want to be friends with Jason Bateman. And if that means I must seduce Justine Bateman, who am I kidding? She wouldn't look at me twice. She wouldn't look at me twice at my best. Justine Bateman was, she was on Family Ties, right? She was Mallory. I liked Mallory. Mallory was dumb and mean. I don't know. There's just two things that attracted me to girls when I was a teenager. Dumb, mean. She's also hot. Dumb, mean, and hot. Oh, God. That was it. The trifecta. If you were a chick in 1986 and you were dumb, mean, and hot, I was in love with you. Justine Bateman, born on this day in 1966. Born on this day in 1967. How about Benicio? Okay, we're going to try that again. It's Benicio del Toro, right? It's not that hard. Don't overthink it, Pugs. Benicio del Toro, born on this day, Puerto Rican actor, director, and producer. He's cool. I like him. Traffic. I can't think of anything else he did. He did a bunch of stuff. I see Benicio del Toro all the time pop up in things. Happy birthday. He's cool. Born on this day in 1995, Dare I say it? I don't know. I'm saying this in Dallas. Do I need to whisper it? Is this the greatest non-American basketball player? It ain't Dirk. I used to think Dirk's the greatest European basketball player of all time, but now, born on this day in 1995, we've got Nikola Jokic, Serbian basketball player. He's pretty good. I still go with Dirk. I still like Dirk. I'm rolling with Dirk. Born on this day in 1995. Born on this day in 1998. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I'm too old. Oh, God. This is one of these things. I'm too old. I don't know what this is. It's a pop star, and I don't know if I'm attracted to it or not. It used to be easy. If you were going to be a female pop star, I was going to be attracted to you. A couple of hiccups along the way. You got your Cyndi Laupers that we didn't know what to do with. We're like, what, is she hot? I don't know. You got your Lady Gagas, who it takes a couple of years for us to go, no, she's definitely hot. She was just uglying herself up, but she's definitely a sexy woman when she wants to be. So now we got this one. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with a Chapel Roan, born on this day in 1998. What is that? She looks like Ronald McDonald. Seriously, for like the first 6 months of her fame, I didn't know. I didn't know what I was looking at. We live in difficult times. It's 2025. I'm like, I don't know. Is that like somebody from RuPaul's Drag Race or something? I didn't know. I didn't know what I was looking at with Chapel Roan, okay? Now, I seem to understand that she's a girl. She's just not the classic, she's not Rihanna out there, she's not Britney Spears, it's a different kind, and I'm a middle-aged man, and I'm, like I said, I'm just confused as to what I'm looking at. Happy birthday, Chapel Roan. My son, he's 15. He can't even explain it to me. I've had conversations with my 15-year-old son about Chapel Roan, and he's like, I don't know what's going on there, Dad. I don't know what that is. I go, do you like her music? He's like, I'm not really all that familiar with it. And I'm like, so it hasn't really reached you? And he's like, no, I mean, she's kind of everywhere. And I'm like, so she's a she? And he's like, yeah, no, it's a girl. I'm like, okay, there you go. That's all my 15-year-old son was able to give me on Chapel Roan. So I'm going to leave it up to you. You ask your kids what's going on there. I can't even name a song. Is she good? Like, if I heard a song and I went, oh, that's a good song, I might, want to invest in figuring out what's happening there with the whole Chapel Roan thing. But as it is, she's a phenomenon, and I don't know what's going on there. Kind of like Pete Davidson. I don't know what's going on with him either. There's a number of people that I'm like, how are they famous? Bowen Yang, another good example. What? Really? Bowen Yang got a lot of TV time on SNL 50, and I'm like, why? All right, let's keep going. Born on this day in 1998, Chapel Roan. Born on this day in 2004. How about Millie Bobby Brown? We all like her, right? I like Millie Bobby Brown. She's the little shaven head girl from Perfect Stranger. Oh, but she's not a girl anymore, right? She's a grown-ass woman. How old is she? 21. She's 21. She's a woman. She's still a girl. Still a girl to my middle-aged ass. I don't know if she's a good actor or not. She's good in Stranger Things. And when I say that, I mean season 1, because that's the only season of Stranger Things I've watched. It's not that it's a bad show. It's just that I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah, it was nothing, it was okay. I get it. It's a good story. I don't really like watching teenagers, but, it seemed a little bit. Happy birthday, Millie Bobby Brown, born on this day in 2004. She's another one of these English people, right? Like when she talks, like in an interview, she talks like Ace, and you're like, wait, what? Hate that, the English. More immigrants taking all of our jobs. All right, let's do deads. These are the people who've died. These are the people who died on this very day. Where did they go? Heaven or hell? We crack open their life, and we're like, what did they do? First dead on this day in 1996. So, like, my heart says, put this dude in heaven because he was so awesome and he was so fun. And, but then also I'm like, yeah, but what he did at the time that he did it in, he's probably a con man of sorts. And probably, I don't know. Are you guys even familiar with Charlie Finley? Do you guys know who Charlie Finley is? He died on this day in 1996. Charlie Finley, one of the great innovators of baseball. Baseball Baseball was around for a lot of years, and it got really stale and really boring. And then in the 1960s and 1970s, we had certain innovators. A guy by the name of Bill Veeck with the Cleveland Indians and Chicago White Sox is a big innovator. Charlie Finley, though. Charlie Finley was really the guy who was the innovator who also had the success. Charlie Finley owned the Oakland A's back in the era when the A's couldn't be beat. Back in the era when the A's were wearing uniforms that were derided by baseball purists as they look like beer league softball uniforms. You know what? They're crazy. Charlie O'Finley wanted to do all kinds of crazy things. I believe he's the designated hitter guy who I will forever be thankful for. Charlie Finley. He wanted colored balls, right? For a period of time, like for a couple of games in the 1970s, they were using like glow in the dark balls. That was him, right? That was Charlie Finley. He was just one of the great characters of baseball. So I personally am putting him in heaven, but he probably does deserve to go to hell. All right, moving on. Here's a guy who's definitely in hell. This is a weird one, man. The stories about this fella, if you're unfamiliar, man, just, crack open his Wikipedia page and just go to YouTube. Just put him on YouTube and just look for some videos where people are talking about this guy. This guy was a legendary F-up. He was basically like his closest friends say, well, you have to understand he was born in, the 1930s in rural, wherever, Arkansas or whatever. And he never saw a doctor his whole life. And we're pretty sure he's retarded, but he could sing like an angel. So, we put him in a recording studio and then started selling, records by this guy. But yeah, we're all pretty sure he was either retarded or seriously insane. Of course, I'm talking about dead on this day in 2003. Country outlaw legend Johnny Paycheck. Take this job and shove it. That dude was basically retarded. All you got to do is just look at his life story. Look at all the times he's been arrested, the things he's been arrested for, how he squandered all of these opportunities. Johnny Paycheck, he's going to hell for sure. Johnny Paycheck. Take this job and shove it. Dead on this day in 2003. Definitely in hell. This next guy I don't know anything about. I know that my son likes him. My son thinks he's great, and he's dead now. And how did he die? Dead on this day in 2020. Pop Smoke. Pop Smoke is a hip hop guy. Let's read a little about him because I don't know anything about him. We're gonna have to decide. Bashir Barack Jackson, known professionally as Pop Smoke, was an American rapper born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. He rose to fame with the release of his 2019 singles, Welcome to the Party and Dior. He frequently collaborated with UK drill artists and producers who employed more minimal and aggressive instrumentation than American drill artists from Chicago, reintroducing the sound of Brooklyn drill. All right, so there you go. He's a hip-hop guy. What did he do? Is there legal issues? Murder. Oh, my God. All right, we're going to have to figure this out. Legal issues. January 17, 2020, after returning from Paris Fashion Week, Pop Smoke was arrested by federal authorities at JFK International after stealing a Rolls Royce valued at $375,000. He stole. That's charming. Pop Smoke stealing a Rolls Royce. The owner of the Rolls Royce reported it stolen after Jackson had reportedly borrowed it in California for a music video shoot on the condition it would be returned the next day. All right, so he didn't really steal it. He just rich guyed it. He did what rich guys do when, he just kept it until it became a thing. And then it became a thing, and then he called his lawyer and said, make it not a thing anymore. This one got a little out of hand. He's returning from Paris Fashion Week. Pop Smoke we're talking about. He gets arrested for stealing. For not return, let's be honest, stealing and not returning are two totally different things. After his arrest, police questioned him about a non-fatal shooting that took place in Brooklyn in 2019. Police thought he had information on the shooting because they claimed to have footage of him driving a car in reverse near the scene of the crime. The police also tried to pressure Jackson into telling them more information about the Crips, a gang he's associated with. All right, he's gone to hell. Let's find out what happened to him here. Jackson rented a house through Airbnb owned by Teddy Mellencamp and her husband. Teddy Mellencamp, is that John Mellencamp's daughter or John Mellencamp's ex-wife? I don't know. He's like an 80-year-old prune who dates supermodels still. So that could be like one of his ex-wives. He was murdered on February. He's murdered. They probably had a reason. Pop Smoke going to hell. All right, there you go, guys. That's Pop Smoke. We're going to put him in hell. All right. That's going to do it. Let me check back in with the chat room. Let me see how you guys are doing. Frank Smith shouting out Charlie Finley. Charlie Finley, Oakland A's. That's right. Adam, I think this is some Chapel Roan information. Adam says she does the ball culture thing, which is heavily influenced by influencers and drag. Okay. That's... Peter doesn't like the seal commercial from the Super Bowl. Thought that was freaky. I thought it was a little freaky myself, but other people seem to like it. All right, let's get started here. Quarter 4. Oh, I do need to remind you, the show does run on your tips. We don't have an executive producer today. If we do have a producer, it's usually because somebody tipped. Well, nobody tipped yesterday, and that's okay. Actually, that's not true. We're going to make Barney. I think Barney tipped. Barney's one of these everyday guys. So let's go ahead and thank you, Barnes. Barnes going to be the executive producer today. If you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is drop a little thing right there. Then more of the Cash App. Keep this kind of talk radio alive. Kind of talk radio doesn't give a shit how you voted. Doesn't care. 70% of Americans can find something in this kind of talk radio. 70% of us. That's excluding the 15% on the right who are fucking nuts and the 15% on the left who are equally fucking nuts. They're gone. That's 30% of the country we can't deal with. 70% of us, we can do business. So let's do it. If you support this kind of radio, all you need to do is drop a little something. That's how we keep it going. Let's go to quarter 4. Okay, and this is what we call, what do we call quarter 4? Hot topics? You know, it just dawns on me, we don't have a name for quarter 4. Oh, look at this. Is this new video of the plane in Toronto flipping over? All of a sudden, within like 48 hours, everybody's got video of this stuff. We're seeing all kinds of video. All right, let's get started. You can tell by the way I'm dressed. It is cold, folks. Cold ass weather here in not just North Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth. People move here to avoid this kind of shit. 90 cities, it says here, 90 cities in America today will be shattering records for cold temperatures. Let's see what it is currently here. The sun is out, so that's pretty good. That's going to make things nicer. Let's see. What do we have right now in Dallas? 18 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. 18 degrees. Hold on. Just make sure you see that. Oh, there you go. 18 degrees. Yeah, that's my 15-year-old back when he was cute. You look at this. Look at what happens to kids. It's 18 degrees. Yeah, that was when he was cute. When you do this. Now look at him. He went from cute to that. Anyway, it's 18 degrees. It's very cold here. Currently in the studio where I'm doing this, it's let's be optimistic. Let's say 50. It's 50 in here. We're gonna go with that. And that's not terrible. It's a little chilly. You know, it's not comfortable, but it's workable. We can handle it. Oh, okay. Let's do the weather. Let's see. What are we looking at here? By 1 o'clock, 23 minutes from now, it's very promising. It's going to start to go up. It's going to be 20 degrees. It's currently 18. So it's going to be 20 degrees in 23 minutes. And then it's going to go to 23 degrees at 2 p.m., 25. Oh, it's going to steadily go up. It's going to go all the way up. We're going to peak at 26 degrees today. 26 degrees they're predicting at 6 p.m. But then we're going to go down again, folks. We're going back down by 1 a.m. It's going to be back down to 18 degrees as it is right now. 16, 15. Holy crap, it's going to be 15 when we wake up tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow it's going to be cold again in the 20s. All right, so there you have it. It's going to be cold. We'll muscle it through. Just warm your cars up. We're not getting any snow, right? There's no I was worried we were supposed to get rain yesterday. I'm like, it was going to rain and then it's all going to freeze and this place is going to be, but it's going to be fine. This is going to be fine. We got no storm fronts coming through. It's just going to be cold. We're going to be good. Speaking of storm fronts, though, I saw this story. I thought this was pretty funny because I've never heard of this. I don't think this is a thing. How about lake effect snow for North Texas? Your first thing is like, what lake would cause lake effect snow in North Texas? Well, apparently they're claiming that Lake Louisville and Lake Ray, they cover. No, they don't. Okay. Good Lord, Texas. You got all kinds of wonderful things. You got the best tacos on the planet. You don't have to be a part of everything. Okay, Texas? You don't have lake effect snow. Stop pretending you do. This comes to us from NBC5. Lake effect snow possible. The rare event for North Texas is potential for Thursday evening. Snow flurries will be possible for communities south of area lakes. Lakes? Look, I choose to live here. We all know that. I love it here. I don't want to live anywhere else. But I come from the Great Lakes region, okay? We don't throw the term lake around. We've got ponds here in North Texas, okay? Yes, I will say this. Lake Louisville, very impressive when flying in the DFW. Same with Lake Grapevine. From 400 feet up, they look really impressive. But they're not, okay? They're not. They're tiny little ponds. You don't get lake effect in North Texas. You have to have... Lake effect snow is most common in the Great Lakes region of the country, but while very rare in North Texas, lake effect snow can happen in DFW and could happen Tuesday and Wednesday nights as an Arctic cold front moves through. Lake effect snow is possible for areas south and southeast of the larger North Texas lakes, such as Louisville and Ray Hubbard. Any snow that falls will not accumulate much and may only be a dusting. Lake water temperatures are between 40 and 42 degrees, and the air will be cold enough to produce snow flurries. How do we get lake effect snow? All right, look at this. Now they're giving us a map. They're giving it like this means anything. Ugh. All right, here we go. All right, so hold on. I don't know what we're looking at here. This dumb map. All right, never mind. We ain't getting no lake effect snow. Ain't no such thing like Louisville lake effect snow, please. All right, let's keep going. There's the weather. We've done weather, okay? Okay, but it's cold. I don't know what else to tell you about it. It's cold. I will say this. A lot of people seem to have stayed home from work today. The commute in was very easy. There was no traffic on the road. I love that about you people. I love that a little bit of cold causes you to cancel everything. It's fantastic. Speaking of canceling everything, how about this? Another big local story. Neiman Marcus. Neiman Marcus, downtown location, going out of business. Hard to believe that an institution such as the flagship Neiman Marcus store located on Main Street in beautiful downtown Dallas, Texas, will be shuttering its doors for the very last time. Hard to believe, although not really, considering I spent 3 years living across the street and never once stepped foot in the Neiman Marcus's flagship store. Seriously, my front door was like, oh, there's Neiman Marcus. I never crossed the street. Nobody normal shops at Neiman Marcus. You go there for the Christmas thing, but didn't they stop doing the Christmas thing? Didn't they? Like when I lived down there, that was a wonderful, wonderful event in downtown Dallas. The Neiman Marcus big Christmas, they'd light the tree, they'd do all the windows. It was wonderful. It was so Christmassy. And then, I don't know, I guess they stopped doing that. Here's the problem with Neiman Marcus. Neiman Marcus is way too elite, okay? If they're going to have a store, maybe it should just be in a centralized downtown location, and that should be the one store they operate. But does anybody go to Neiman Marcus's store anywhere else in the country? I mean, I guess super rich people do, right? I guess that's, Neiman Marcus, Barney's. I don't know. I guess these places. I go to Macy's. Most of us go to Macy's. Some of us go to Burlington Coat Factory. You'd be surprised at what you can find at Burlington Coat Factory. But I don't know. I guess the rich people have turned their back on Macy's because it's not like there's less rich people now. Or Macy's, I mean Neiman Marcus. Dallas's iconic Neiman Marcus store is shutting down after more than a century. The news comes less than a year after Neiman Marcus's merger with Saks Fifth Avenue, another stupid store that nobody goes to. And shortly after the announcement of the closing of their City Place offices. Downtown Dallas, iconic Neiman Marcus's department store is closing after more than a century, company officials said Tuesday. The news comes less than a year after Neiman Marcus's merger with Saks Fifth Avenue. In the same week, the company can... Pop-ups. I hate pop-ups. Let's see here. A spokesman for Saks Global, which the combined company was named after closing a $2.65 billion deal. So the people who ran Neiman Marcus got out, with $2.65 billion in their pockets. All right. It says here, $2.65 billion deal to buy the Dallas-based Neiman Marcus last year. That Saks bought it or merged with it last year. They said that the brand's flagship store at 1618 Main Street in downtown Dallas is closing after the company failed to come to an agreement with its landlord following a decade of negotiations. Failed to come to an agreement with the landlord. What does the landlord think they're going to put in there if you can't come to an agreement with Neiman Marcus? Have you seen downtown Dallas? It is skyscraper after skyscraper with tumbleweeds blowing through the hallways. No, the entire of, this would be why Neiman Marcus would probably be like, yeah, well, we'll stay for $1. It's like we're the only thing happening in downtown Dallas. This landlord's an idiot. If it really did come down to, what is he going to put in there? What's he going to, I suppose. No, what are you going to put in there? Downtown areas are dying. You can't come to this is because of a disagreement between the landlord. First of all, Neiman Marcus doesn't own the fucking building. What? They've been there for 100 years. They don't own the building. All right, whatever. It's sad to see because change is sad, but it happens. And look, I come from a background where Marshall Fields was like our Neiman Marcus. Marshall Fields, and then Macy's swept in about 20 years ago or so, bought it up, and now we don't even have a Marshall Fields anymore. And you know what? We were all upset, but we survived. So I think Dallas is going to survive without the Neiman Marcus store. You're going to be fine. Pope Watch. Yeah, that's right, folks. We got a Pope Watch going on, and the news ain't good. Been covering this from last Friday. As a matter of fact, I thought, they don't traditionally do a long, drawn-out Pope death watch. What they do is they wait till, it's pretty clear that he's going to die, and then they make the announcement that he's sick. They're like, yeah, he's not feeling well, and then, that's how it goes. So I assumed on Friday when it was made public that the Pope was going to be admitted to a hospital, that, that's a big deal. So what did I set? Saturday at 6 o'clock. I said the Pope will be dead by Saturday at 6 o'clock, over under. Well, I missed out on that one. And now comes word, double pneumonia in both lungs. The Pope, the 88-year-old pontiff, has double pneumonia in both lungs. Tomorrow by start of the show. I'm telling you, I think tomorrow's top story is going to be the Pope is gone. Time to get a new Pope. Which means I got to watch Conclave. What timing for Conclave, man? Conclave is the Oscar-nominated film about the corruption and the political intrigue and all that stuff that goes into choosing a Pope. And it's winning all kinds of awards. And I really wasn't interested in watching it, but now we're about to see an actual papal conclave happen while the film Conclave is, I'm telling you, it just seems like it's relevant. So I'm probably going to watch Conclave. All right, there you have it. Pope Watch. Keep it here for breaking news on Pope Watch. What do we have here? Oh, Netflix. Oh, you knew this was going to happen. What Netflix had two big live streaming events, the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight, which completely shit the bed. And then they had the Christmas football games, which were terrific. The Netflix Christmas football games were great. And we had very low expectations because of what, they shit the bed when it came to Tyson and Jake Paul from a couple of months or a month earlier. Now comes word that Netflix is not just going to be a special events platform for NFL football, but Netflix is looking to take NFL Sunday afternoon games from Fox and CBS in a new merger, or a new media deal that's being reported. Okay, here we go. After streaming its first NFL games on Christmas, Netflix will be seeking a much bigger piece of the pie in the league's next media deal. According to a report from Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio. Boy, I like Florio. I really like Florio a lot. It's like, you know me, I'm hard on experts. I'm like, experts, but I like Florio. I like him. Anyway, Mike Florio says, Pro Football Talks Florio says that Netflix will try moving in on the NFL's Sunday afternoon games with the current deals. That slate of games currently belong to Fox and CBS. NBC handles Sunday Night Football. Amazon has Thursday Night Football, and ESPN ABC is in charge of Monday Night Football. The current deals are set to run through 2033, but the NFL has the option to end them 4 years early in 2029. Why? Why do they have a deal with somebody, but the NFL has an option to end it for you? Business is weird, man. Let's see. Streaming services have continued to increase their presence in the world of professional sports. Prior to Netflix's Christmas games, the streamer broadcast the widely criticized boxing match between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. I mentioned that. A few years after Amazon became the exclusive provider of Thursday Night Football, NBC had its first Peacock exclusive playoff game. Amazon also managed to, look, it's all going to platforms. It's not, network TV is dying, folks. That network TV in 10 years, nobody's going to remember NBC, CBS, or ABC. Well, nobody will remember. We'll remember it, of course, but it won't be something that we actually use. It's not. I mean, I say this all the time, and it really irritates me because nobody watches TV better than me. All right, I'm the best TV watcher any of you have ever known. Oh, I've been training since I'm a kid. I'm so good at it. TV is not better now. There are more choices. There is more chaos. There is no uniformity, no organization. We have no idea when something, for instance, there is a documentary about Lorne Michaels, not about Saturday Night Live, not about Lorne Michaels. And it's supposed to be somewhere. It's supposed to be on somewhere. And it was supposed to be released the week after the 50th anniversary thing. So I assumed it was big. I can't find that anywhere. I can't find it anywhere. Okay. Back in the day, if I wanted to see something, there was a book called TV Guide. Oh, and I know it's old-timey magazine, but that fucking TV Guide told me everything I needed to know instantly, right? Now it's now I used to be able to watch, oh my God, we're talking about prime cable satellite system setup, right? All right, so back in the prime, I used to be able to watch 3 games at once. One game goes to a commercial, you hit the back button, and you're immediately at the next game, the other game you were watching. Oh, they're in a commercial now, boom, hit the other button. Now you could jump around. Do you remember channel surfing? I don't know. I want to watch something. Something's going to catch my interest. Click, 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 click. You could go through 75 channels in like a minute and a half. And if something caught your interest, you'd be like, oh, I'm watching this now. You can't do that anymore. You can't. Have you ever tried watching a game? There's a game on one app, and then you're like, oh, they're in a commercial break. Let me go try the other game. And then you've got to exit that app. Then you got to wait for the home bar. And then that app comes up, and then you got to scroll to find, there it is. There's the game I was at. And then you click that. That's the thing buffering. And then that comes on, and then you're like, oh, they're in a commercial too. I got to go back to the other one. So then you got to exit the app. See, that's progress. That's technology. It used to be just click, 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 click. Look at me. I'm watching 100 fucking things at once. Click, 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 click. That was better. So, in closing, just because we have the technology to do something differently doesn't mean that this way is better than the way we used to do it. Bring back TV Guide. Bring back lawn charts. Bring back Aunt Jemima. Bring back dwarf tossing. Let's go. Elections have consequences. All right, we're moving on. Anyway, football's coming to Netflix. Deal with it. And they're probably going to make you watch commercials too. That's the other thing they figured out. They figured out a lot of us with DVRs and with cable and satellite, we didn't have to watch commercials. We could pause it and just go and take a dump or whatever. And then we'd have time built up so that when the next commercial came, we could just skip through it. Oh yeah, the platforms have figured us out there. Platforms make us watch all this shit live. Hate that. It's not better. It is not better. Just because they can do, hey, I think we can do this now. I think we can make pancakes with nuclear fusion. Yeah, but maybe we shouldn't. Maybe that's not something. All right. Anyway, Netflix is getting football. Just be prepared. KFC. Here's a fun one. KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Do you like KFC? Yeah, I love KFC. Here's what I don't like about KFC. What are they doing with those chickens? What is KFC doing with those chickens that they have somehow figured out how to create the world's smallest chickens? The world. Have you ever gotten a chicken leg from KFC? Oh my God. These are pigeons. These aren't chickens. KFC, man, seriously, shame on you. A chicken breast at KFC is like this big. It's like that big. It's like that big. Here you go. You want a chicken breast? Here, a little chicken breast. And then let's not even talk about wings. There's no meat on this. This is just breading and bone. You're selling me breading and bone. With all of that said, Kentucky Fried Chicken is the best tasting chicken. It's the best tasting chicken. You're all wrong. No, I love Popeyes. Popeyes will give you a big bird. Popeyes got a big piece of chicken. I appreciate that about Popeyes. Popeyes flavor sucks. Yeah, I said it. Can a white guy say that? I don't know. Is a white guy allowed to hate on Popeyes chicken? I don't like Popeyes chicken. You know what I do like at Popeyes, though? Popeyes biscuits. I'll get chicken from Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I'll get the biscuits from Popeyes. Anyway, Kentucky Fried Chicken. They've got these little mutant tiny birds, these little pigeon birds, these little pigeon chickens, pidgeons. That's it. We came up with a name. Pidgeons. Look at that. So Kentucky Fried Chicken, they're moving. They're moving. Now everybody's like, what do you mean they're moving? Yeah. Like, oh, they're located in Kentucky Fried Chicken. No, they're not. They've been located. Yes, they do have a co-headquarters. Kentucky Fried Chicken has a co-headquarters in Kentucky. It's like the place where Colonel Sanders worked, back when, he was just running like 15 shops. That's like the museum campus there in Kentucky. Figurehead. It's nonsense. The real corporate headquarters of Kentucky Fried Chicken has been in California for like decades, since Kentucky Fried Chicken sold to, Yum Brands or whatever. They own everything. They own a shit ton of shit. Anyway, they are co-splitting their Kentucky Fried Chicken headquarters now between California. They're not really leaving Kentucky. They're still going to have the stupid museum there. But big decisions about how you create those tiny pidgeons, those are now going to be coming from Texas. Yeah. Kentucky Fried Chicken moving to Plano. That co-headquarters with California and Plano, Texas. Officially, Kentucky Fried Chicken is going to be moving here. You guys, I know we take Plano for granted. You ever seen the shit that's in Plano? You ever seen like the corporate headquarters of stuff that's in Plano? Plano's a baller city, man. Plano's got like everything. Like, and now Frito-Lay. Like, you ever had a Dorito? Plano. Like Dr. Pepper, Snapple, like Plano. All of that shit's up. Nationwide Insurance, Plano. Everything's up there. Now KFC is in Plano. It says here, KFC, the fast food chain, formerly known as Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh man, that makes me feel old. What do you mean formerly known? It's not Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's really been just KFC. It's been KFC for like 20 years. Everybody calls it KFC. I guess that's official. The chicken chain's parent company, Yum Brands, announced Tuesday that KFC's corporate headquarters is leaving Kentucky for Texas, joining sister brand Pizza Hut in their offices in the Dallas suburb of Plano. Pizza Hut. Boy, that's some bad pizza. That is the worst. Oh my God. Pizza Hut is terrible. Pizza Hut's not the worst pizza, though. The worst pizza is Jimmy John's. That stuff is like, what is this? This dry bread with some red paste that doesn't have any flavor. Jimmy John's is terrible. Then you get into like the Domino's and the Little Caesars. I think of the trash pizza, and there's a lot of all chain pizza is trash. Can we just start with that? So of the chain pizza, Little Caesars is the best. I hate to say that. God, I almost want to vomit saying that. Anyway, KFC is moving to Plano. They're going to shack up with their cousin, Pizza Hut, and they're going to make tiny pidgeons and really gross pizza. There you go. Somebody named ASAP Rocky is in the news. I don't know why ASAP Rocky's in the news. You guys know who ASAP Rocky is? Sorry, I got an itch on my foot. ASAP Rocky is a hip hop guy. I guess I only know the hip hop guys who have, been indicted. Because ASAP Rocky is a name I know, but I'm not familiar. Here's who I am familiar with. His woman. ASAP Rocky got a woman. Her name is Rihanna. Rihanna. Not Rhiannon. Rihanna. Superstar. Big time superstar. Not the biggest. Like where's Rihanna in the pecking order? She's A-list. Oh, without a doubt, she's A-list. But even within the A-list, there's a pecking order, right? Rihanna is not with Beyonce, and so there's like Beyonce and Taylor. They're like at the very top of the A-list, right? So you got Beyonce and Taylor. Then you got to make room for Gaga. Gaga's always doing something that's going to get her all kinds of attention. So Gaga's almost like right there at a sub-level, I would say, just below Beyonce and Taylor. And then you got your what's? You got your Katy Perry's. Yeah. Now you got your Chappell Ronan. That's where Rihanna is. Rihanna's in there. She's in there. Anyway, still A-list, right? Wait, who's this Sabrina Carpenter that apparently Lorne Michaels is sleeping with? Because she was all over the SNL 50. And I'm like, what? She's like below Rihanna for sure. Sabrina Carpenter, I don't know. This is, if you want to know how a middle-aged white man sees the current state of celebrity, you're getting it. I'll tell you, ain't none of them bigger than Barbara and Madonna. They're the top of the food chain. Barbara and Celine. Don't forget about Bette Midler. I don't know. Anyway, ASAP Rocky, he's married to Rihanna. Obviously, we got ourselves an urban Roseanne and Tom Arnold kind of situation, I'm thinking. Because Rihanna is definitely Roseanne. I don't know who this guy is. Anyway, this guy's involved in some hijinks, some hip-hop hijinks, some gunplay, some shot somebody. Let's just get to the story. All right. He was on trial, ASAP Rocky. And his wife and mother of his two children, Rihanna, was there in court with him the whole time. ASAP Rocky dives into Rihanna's arms as a not guilty verdict is read at his felony assault trial. Now, is there video of this? We don't have video of it. Here's the only picture we have of it. Diving into, is Rihanna this small? Yes, I can actually tell you she is this small. I stood on a street corner with Rihanna once before she was full-blown Rihanna. All right, here we go. So I'm guessing cornrows here is, I'm guessing this is ASAP Rocky. And Rihanna, is this Rihanna? I don't know. This is not Rihanna. Is Rihanna being completely blocked by this person? Anyway, there you have it. Isn't that cute? Any other pictures of the two? That's not Rihanna. That's a lawyer. All right. Sorry. He's hugging his lawyer. So there is no video. There he is learning the verdict. All right. There he is. All right. So there you go. Where's Rihanna? I just want to see Rihanna. I haven't seen one picture of Rihanna since she's the headline of the story. Is that him? I guess that's him. He looks like a very well-behaved young gentleman in his suit. Look at him. Why, he would never be involved in such... Your Honor, look at him. He's wearing a suit. All right, so let's get into this story. Let's see what he was on trial for. What he absolutely didn't do. Thanks to the fine lawyers provided to him by his wife, Rihanna. I'm sorry. I just think he probably did what he's accused of doing. The Los Angeles courtroom, full of fans of the hip-hop performer and his singing superstar partner, Rihanna, exploded into screaming glee as Rocky leapt from the defense table into the gallery where Rihanna sat between his mother and sister. They embraced and then sobbed. After a 3-week trial, 3 weeks! Where have I been? This ain't exactly Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. I didn't even know this trial was going on. After a 3-week trial, the jury deliberated for just 3 hours to reach a verdict that spared Rocky, whose legal name is Rakeem Myers, a prison sentence that would have run more than 2 decades. He said, "Thank y'all for saving my life," he told the jurors as he left. Amid the chaos, it took a clerk a while to read through the second not guilty verdict, though it was very unlikely the jury would split on the counts. The judge said, "Mr. Mayers, you are excused." On the eve of trial, Rocky turned down a prosecution offer of just 6 months in jail, along with probation and other conditions, if he would plead guilty to 1 count. Insisting on his innocence, Rocky decided to gamble that a jury would feel the same. It paid off. The jurors felt at least that there was reasonable doubt of his guilt. What did he do? This fucking news story does not say what he did. The verdict came at the height of Rocky's fame, if not the pinnacle of his musical career. The 3-time Grammy nominee, fashion mogul, and actor has a banner year in the works and can now look to it without the threat of prison hanging over him. What did he do? Prosecutors and their witnesses, here we go. Prosecutors and their witnesses said that he was beefing with a former friend, A$AP Rocky. Wait a second, A$AP Rocky and A$AP Rocky are beefing? Prosecutors and their witnesses said that A$AP Rocky was beefing with a former friend, A$AP Rocky, with whom he had been in a new crew who called themselves the A$AP Mob. They said the two men met in Hollywood on November 6, 2021. And after a scuffle, A$AP Rocky pulled the gun and fired twice at Relly, who said one of the shots grazed his knuckle, but was not seriously hurt. All right, I'll tell you what's going on here. This is a beef between 2 boys. One of them, A$AP Relly, feels that A$AP Rocky is now just all about his girlfriend. He never spends any time with, because his girlfriend is Rihanna. So now the two boys are beefing over the girl because he's spending all of his time with the girl. And then he sees money. As a money opportunity. He knows that A$AP Rocky's got money. I don't know. It's all money. Knuckles. He got shot. A bullet grazed his knuckles. And by the way, here's why A$AP Rocky was acquitted and found not guilty. Because it wasn't even a bullet. Turns out it was a starter pistol. It didn't even pull a real gun on him. It was a starter pistol, and he says he fired it to calm the situation down. He wasn't trying to hit anybody. He didn't even hit him. A ricochet. Anyway, there you go. A$AP Rocky. Now you got that to talk about at dinner with your family. Your family sitting around. Everybody goes, "Yeah, did you hear about A$AP Rocky?" I'm sure the kids will be impressed that you know about this. Big doings. Big doings in the world of podcasting. And this is weird in a story that I doubt, and maybe is just a blip, but whatever. Joe Rogan has dropped to number 2 in the podcast charts. Joe Rogan had been number 1 on the podcast weekly download charts for so long, and you didn't even consider, who could be, number 2. It didn't matter. It wasn't even close. Well, guess what? Joe Rogan this week is now number 2 on the podcast charts, and this is why it's a story. Because it's an anti-Trump podcast that's number 1 that I've never heard of before. I wouldn't listen to an anti-Trump podcast. I wouldn't listen to a pro-Trump podcast. See, I'm not listening to these kinds of podcasts. An anti-Trump podcast outpaced the Joe Rogan Experience by a large number of downloads and views over the past month for the first time. according to podcast ranker Podscribe. Never heard of it. The Meidas Touch podcast. It looks like Midas, but it's not. It appears to be their last name. The MEIDAS. MEIDAS Touch. The Meidas Touch podcast grew its reach by 101% in the past month, ranking in 56 million downloads and views across audio platforms and YouTube. Joe Rogan's show came in second for the very first time, with 48.6 million downloads and views, down over 30% over the past month. So you see, we're winning. The liberals are winning. I wish them luck. Whatever. You know, I don't hate. Well, first of all, I hate anybody who's going to dedicate an entire podcast to, just politics. Ugh, that's ugly. Yeah, whatever. All right. Oh, hey, by the way, don't we want to know what else is there? Yeah. So let's look at the other big podcasts. Okay. If this new Meidas Touch is the number one podcast and Joe Rogan is number two, Meidas Touch, as of right now, 57.7 million downloads. Latest episode of Joe Rogan, 50.3 million downloads. So outpacing it by 7.7 million. Hold on, Mr. Popular. Excuse me. Nice. That was a text from Ed, Radio Misfits. A secret between he and I, but I will say nice. There you go. All right, so the Meidas Touch is number one with 57.7 million. The Joe Rogan Experience is number two in the podcast charts with 50.3 million. Number three, Candace. Is that Candace Owens? I don't know. It looks like a hot black chick, so I'm going to say, yeah, that's Candace Owens. 44 million. There you go. Number four in the podcast hot chart is The Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, 31.1 million. What the fuck is that? Seriously, what is this stuff? The Sean Ryan Show comes in at number 5 on the podcast views for the past month at 25 million views. All right, what else do we have? Anybody else to mention there? No, not really. Theo Von. Theo Von is 6th. There you go. This past weekend with Theo Von. All right, there you go. Big news in the podcast world. Oh, my God. Joe Rogan isn't number 1. He'll be number 1 next week. Watch. I'll cover it. I'll check in. I'll check back in next week, and I'll show you. It's just a blip. But, the sad 15% on the left, the weird ones, they need this victory. Let them have it. Let them have it for a day. Meidas Touch. Ugh. This is what happens, though. I can tell you that. So, in the world of talk radio, which is where I come from. So, in the world of talk radio, it is widely believed and backed up by numbers that an opposition party does better in the realm of talk radio. What does that mean, an opposition party? Well, right now, for the next 4 years in America, talk radio is not the opposition party. Talk radio is almost completely MAGA. Talk radio, terrestrial talk radio, AM talk radio is almost completely MAGA. So they got nothing to complain about now for 4 years. They're going to have to keep. So what they say in these kinds of situations is that the anti-party is always the one that does the best. The podcast. So, of course, Joe Rogan, which is seen as pro-MAGA, the luster's off because what do you complain about? Your guy's in there. You can't really tear down your guy. You can't. Nobody's being honest. Nobody. If Trump were to murder 15 people in the Oval Office, AM talk radio would be like, well, he's doing it for America. It was. They can't be honest. They're bought and paid for. So you will see advertising numbers drop over the next 4 years in talk radio because they just can't, you got a Dan Bongino or whatever. He's a happy guy now. You can't build a Potemkin enemy. The enemy, the liberals, have been completely destroyed. There's nothing to rant and rave about on AM Talk. So, that would explain why in the first month of the Trump presidency that you've seen an anti-Trump show get all kinds of looks and listens. That's all. I think it's just a blip. I think it'll even back out. But I will say that talk radio does need to change over the next 4 years. They need to find a way. Talk radio needs to penetrate by echoing outrage. Outrage doesn't go away. Right? It doesn't matter if you're a guy who hates your life because you work in a fucking coal mine or whatever. You're still going to be a fucking pissed off guy. Even though Trump is your president, you voted for him. Nothing's really great going to change for you. You're still going to be a pissed off guy. So that's still what triggers you. So you don't want to hear your guy that you listen to on the radio telling you how everything's perfect now that we got our guy. Because over time, you're going to realize the thing isn't really perfect because it doesn't matter who's the president. Doesn't matter. No president's going to turn your shit life into something great, but, So, and I'm not saying liberal talk is going to come to talk radio because no way, nobody wants to listen to liberal talk even in the best of times. You know why? Because liberal talk can't be entertaining. Because liberal talk is way too obsessed, at least in the way that it has existed over the last 20 years. Liberal talk can't have fun at anyone else's expense. There are no jokes to be had with liberal talk because everybody, that's mean. And you're like, well, that's a joke. But it's mean and it's at the expense of, so, liberals are never going to be able to win in the way that conservative points of view can win. You can rant and be angry when you're a conservative, but when you're a liberal, you have to be upset for every potential victim that's out there. So nothing can be funny. So I'm not saying talk radio is going to go liberal. But we are going to see talk radio numbers begin to drop over the next 4 years as people seek talk radio terrestrial is going to drop anyway because people who listen to talk radio are dying. Nobody knew. There are no new terrestrial talk radio fans born after 2000, right? 25 years. No kid born in the life. There is no 25-year-old who wakes up every day and can't wait to listen to their AM talk morning show. No, this generation now does podcasts and different things. So there are no new talk radio listeners. So you got to maintain the ones that you have. And how you do that? That's tricky. You're no longer the opposition party. You're now the party that got the guy in there, and everything that happens now is because you wanted it to happen. And that's more of a difficult lane to be entertaining in. Anyway, there you go. Rogan drops to number 2 briefly. He'll be back. Don't worry. This is like when they used to celebrate when Fox News, before Fox News became the absolute juggernaut that it's been for the last decade, Fox News was still dominant. But every once in a while, MSNBC would creep in and beat it, or CNN would creep in and beat it. And during those times, people would be like, oh, see, it's over for Fox News. Yeah, right. In the last 15 years, nobody has ever beaten Fox News. So shut up. It's going to come back. People like to be outraged. People like to be angry. And as long as you're creating angry content, people will flock to it. That's why we don't have any listeners here, because I'm angry, but nobody takes me seriously. Oh, here's some fun things that we learned. We were talking yesterday about Saturday Night Live, the 50, Saturday Night Live 50. And I wondered, I went through a list of people that were absent, people that I did not see. I didn't see Dan Aykroyd. I didn't see Bill Hader. Who else didn't I see? I didn't see Dana Carvey. Yeah, I mentioned a couple of people. And now we're starting to get reasons why certain people, conspicuous in their absence, big names. I mean, for crying out loud, I saw Terry Sweeney all over the broadcast. Terry Sweeney, ladies and gentlemen. Half you folks never heard of Terry Sweeney. He was on Saturday Night Live, played Nancy Reagan. Played Nancy Reagan on Saturday Night Live back in the 80s. Very funny. I saw him, but I didn't see Dan Aykroyd. What? How? You're going to tell me you're not going to have a moment with the remaining members of the original cast? We saw that beautiful. They went to a commercial where the camera went to the audience, and the camera was on Lorraine Newman and Jane Curtin, and they were sitting together, and between them they had this big, beautiful picture of Gilda Radner. That was beautiful. Jane Curtin and Lorraine Newman sitting there with a big picture of their dead friend Gilda. It was beautiful, right? We couldn't have that with Belushi. We couldn't have Dan Aykroyd, holding the picture of Belushi. We couldn't have Sandler holding a picture or Spade holding a picture of Farley, right? We didn't get those things because certain people weren't there. So we're starting to learn more. Answers are coming. Why Dana Carvey, Bill Hader, and more SNL legends skipped the 50th anniversary show. Skipped it was a choice. They made a choice to use the word skipped because it causes you to read on, because skipped makes you think, oh, they must be mad. There's got to be something juicy in here. No. They chose the word skip to mislead you. Nobody skipped the 50th, okay? Some couldn't make it, but nobody skipped it. Nobody went, yeah, nah, I'd rather not, which is what skipped makes it sound like. So, again, journalists are pieces of shit. Saturday Night Live icon Dana Carvey has frequently returned to Studio 8H this season to play President Joe Biden. That's what was so weird about Carvey. Carvey's been on every episode of Saturday Night Live this year. Every episode, Dana Carvey has been playing Joe Biden or Elon Musk or whatever. Dana Carvey has been a very big presence. So the fact that he wasn't on air at all was conspicuous. That's weird. Dana Carvey, who has returned to Studio 8H this season to play President Joe Biden and even revived his famed church lady character back in December. So why wasn't he, Dana Carvey, on Sunday's SNL 50th anniversary special? Variety has learned that Carvey had been struck with a really bad flu and was too under the weather to attend. That would explain why he wasn't there. But his buddy and podcast partner, David Spade, did participate. It's likely Carvey, who was an SNL regular from 86 to 93, but has guested many times since then, will share more of what happened when the duo, he and Spade, released the next episode of their podcast, Fly on the Wall with Dana Carvey, supposed to come out today, Wednesday. All right, so Dana Carvey was sick. Dana Carvey had every intention of going. He just got sick. And of course he was going to go. He was just on the show 2 weeks ago. He doesn't have there's no beef. There's no problem. The guy that I thought would be most, would have the problem was Chevy Chase. And Chevy Chase does not seem to be a problem at all. Chevy Chase seemed to have enjoyed it. Because he'd been so active recently on this season of SNL, and he's arguably on the Mount Rushmore of SNL cast members. No, he's not. Oh, shut up. I suppose you saved yourself by saying arguably. I would have gone with debatably, but he's not. Dana Carvey is not. Dana Carvey might be top 10, but there ain't 10 faces on Mount Rushmore, so stop it. Mount Rushmore means you're top 4. Okay, Dana Carvey's not top 4. He's great. Might be top 6. I don't know. He's great, but because he'd been so active recently on this season of SNL, and he's arguably on the Mount Rushmore, Carvey's absence was noticeable. Other noticeable SNL alums who didn't appear include Bill Hader, cast member from 2005 to 2013, and original cast star Dan Aykroyd, 75 to 79. According to a rep, Bill Hader was unable to make the event due to a long-standing schedule conflict. Okay, so let's talk about Hader. That sucks because Hader's in Hader is one of the 10 in my supercast. Hader's one of the greats of all time, right? In my opinion. We'd heard this last week that Bill Hader wasn't going to be there. Bill Hader he's filming a movie somewhere, or he's got some kind of thing, and there's no beef between Bill Hader. He was just on the show like a couple of years. There's no beef. He's a very busy actor. He's very popular. He's very in demand. So it makes sense that Bill Hader would have a scheduling conflict. Can't make it. He's probably oh fuck, I can't believe I couldn't make it, man. But I'm stuck here in Milan, or got a 6 a.m. shoot tomorrow morning. This is what these people do. All right. So let's focus on Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd not being there is troubling to me. I don't like that. Not because I think there's some long simmering beef between Lorne Michaels and Dan Aykroyd. No, that's not it. Dan Aykroyd is a soldier. Dan Aykroyd is an SN. Trust me, he's not a troublemaker. He's Mr. Original. He's the original glue. We talk about, Lorne Michaels always made a thing to say that every cast needs to have glue. And whoever that person is, well, the best example of glue, they say the greatest glue cast member of all time was Phil Hartman. Because Phil Hartman could come in to a scene or a sketch that wasn't working and just simply through his magic and his massive abilities could make that scene work. There have been other versions of glue over the years. Dan Aykroyd was the first. Dan Aykroyd was the first example of somebody who could do so many different things and could change his tone. He could be the serious authoritarian, or he could be, wacky and, the Festrunk brothers, wild and crazy guys. That's what the glue can do. The glue can be fit into any scene and make it all come together. Dan Aykroyd, the original glue, was not there. So that was weird. Aykroyd's decision to bow out was less clear. The rest of the surviving original not ready for primetime cast was in the building. Garrett Morris, who appeared on stage, Lorraine Newman, who was in a pre-tape sketch, Jane Curtin, and Chevy Chase all appeared. Aykroyd had posted that day on X. Here's what he posted earlier in the day. So lest you think there's a beef. Aykroyd posted, cracking ahead with pride at having been a co-founder of SNL along with everyone we were together with in those 4 years, 5 decades ago. This telecast is as historic as the moon landing. Comedy stars of our age all gathered under the aegis of America's greatest. All right, so that's what Dan Aykroyd posted hours before not showing up. So he's not mad. He's not mad. Here's why I have concerns. Because he's old. Because Dan Aykroyd is old. I can't imagine anything keeping Dan Aykroyd from being a part of this incredible night, short of he's just physically incapable of doing it. And that concerns me. That concerns me because Dan Aykroyd, although not on my top 10 supercast, I only had room for one glue, and I went with Phil Hartman. I love Dan Aykroyd. We should all love Dan Aykroyd. That dude is awesome. So let's hope. Let's keep a good thought and hope that he's well. Here, this is something that he posted last night, Dan Aykroyd. He actually has more to say. So let's see and let's read this. This comes from the man himself explaining what. Oh, hold on. Where is it? No, there we go. Okay. All right, I don't know. Can we even see this? Is this too big? Yeah, you know what? I don't know if you can read that. All right, so I'll read it for you. Here we go. Dan Aykroyd posted yesterday, all heads up toasting triumphant SNL 50th. Advantage of not attending, got to see every second of concert and show on TV. Quote from my children, look at daddy's smile. Had it from start to finish. Congratulations, Lorne. Well done as usual. All right. Dan Aykroyd is sick, man. Dan Aykroyd is sick, and it's not public, and now I'm bummed out because he obviously had every reason to be there and wanted to be there. Dan Aykroyd's not shooting a film on location. He's gathered with his children watching this. Big thoughts for him. Good thoughts. Keep good thoughts for Dan Aykroyd. I'm really concerned about that now. I hope that he's all right. How old is Dan Aykroyd? We got to figure out how old is Dan Aykroyd. Hold on. Dan. Oh, God. His name is so hard to spell. 72. He's not that old. He is not that old, Dan Aykroyd. All right. There you have it. Still don't like it. I still don't like that he wasn't there. I would have liked him. I would have liked for him to have been there, because of the Belushi thing. I would have liked for him to have been there. I need Jim Belushi. Did we even see Jim Belushi? Jim Belushi was there, right? But just like everything else Jim Belushi has done, we don't remember. He was there, but he's not quite his brother. I'm just saying, his brother was a scene stealer. Jim Belushi, not exactly a scene stealer. All right, let's keep going. What else do we have? Oh, here's another good celebrity fight. This is a fun one. This is. I don't know where this came from. Well, okay, so here's why. So Guy Pearce. Do you guys know who Guy Pearce is? Guy Pearce is an actor. He's been around forever. He's very hot at the moment. Believe he is nominated for an Oscar for The Brutalist. The Brutalist. Looks like a very cool movie that I can't wait to watch. Also, Enora. Don't know if you guys have seen Enora yet. Oh my God, Enora is good. Enora is a good movie. But Brutalist. I also got to see The Brutalist. So Guy Pearce is in The Brutalist. So he's making the rounds and he's doing interviews and people are talking to him about his career. And one of the big moments in his career was back in the late 90s when Guy Pearce and Russell Crowe and Kevin Spacey all appeared together in the incredible LA Confidential. God, that's a good movie. Curtis. He's dead. He's dead. It's not Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin's alive. Curtis, director. I don't know. He was a really good director. He made a bunch of good movies. He made LA Confidential. He made 8 Mile, and now he's dead. Curtis Sliwa. No, not the founder of the Guardian Angels. Not Curtis Sliwa. Curtis. Not Curtis Martin. It's not Curtis Anderson. We're going to go with Curtis Anderson. We're going to placeholder so I can move on. I know it's not Curtis Anderson. Someone in the chat room. This is where I'm just waiting for people in the chat room to help me out here. But apparently I can't wait that long. Yes, Amy. Amy says Guy Pearce also. Memento. Very good. Curtis. No one in the chat. Not one of you could have just gone to Google and said who directed LA Confidential? Holy shit. Okay, now I'm just not going to be able to sleep tonight. It's going to be one of these things. Curtis. I swear to God. Who directed LA Conf? And he's dead. He's dead too, right? Who does? But Curtis Hanson. You people in the chat room, you were of no help to me. No help. Curtis Hanson. Not Curtis Blow. Kevin. How dare you? All right, let's keep going. All right, Guy Pearce. So we're talking about Guy Pearce. Guy Pearce was in a movie with Kevin Spacey like 30 years ago, 25 years ago, 26, 27, 28 years ago, something like that. Almost 30 years ago, he's in this movie, LA Confidential. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, see it. Guy Pearce is relevant again. Kevin Spacey is certainly not. Kevin Spacey's kind of, he's Kevin Spacey. Ew. Nobody's hiring Kevin Spacey. They should. Kevin Spacey's awesome. Half the people in Hollywood are creeps. What, just because we know that he's a creep, we're going to stop enjoying his talents? No. Separate the art from the artist. I will see anything Kevin Spacey does. Probably not now, because Kevin Spacey's got to be way more. He can't be as selective as maybe he was. Like back in the day, if Kevin Spacey was in a movie, I'm like, this is going to be a good movie because he's going to. But now it's like Kevin Spacey's probably just doing whatever's offered to him. So now I can't just see a Kevin Spacey movie, although he will be good in it because he's very good. Anyway, Guy Pearce is talking some shit about Kevin Spacey. He's talking about how he feels like he was sexually harassed now. Guy Pearce, big movie star, big brutalist. Guy Pearce saying Kevin Spacey back 28 years ago or whatever, he was sexing me up and I didn't like it because I was a young innocent. 29. He's 29. I was just a kid. I was 29. You're not a kid at 29, Guy Pearce. Ugh. Anyway, here's the story. Guy Pearce is getting candid, folks, about his experience on LA Confidential with Kevin Spacey. The Brutalist star opened up on the Hollywood Reporter's Awards Chatter podcast. During an episode released Saturday, September the 15th, he opened up about his unpleasant time working with Spacey on the 1997 film, LA Confidential. Here's what Guy Pearce says about working with Kevin Spacey back then in 97. I was scared of Kevin because he's quite an aggressive man and extremely charming and brilliant at what he does and really impressive, etc. He holds a room remarkably, said Pearce, 57, alleging, but I was young and susceptible, and he targeted me, no question. You were 29 years old. You weren't 15, okay? He said that his then wife, Kate Mezitz, apparently Guy Pearce back then was married. He's too young to be scared by big old scary Kevin Spacey, who's like a dork. Kevin Spacey is like not intimidating at all, but you, Guy Pearce, you're like, I was just a kid. So I said to my wife, which is it? Are you a kid or do you have a wife? I was scared of Kevin. He said that his then wife, Kate Mezitz, had been there with him during filming and that he'd tell her that the, quote, only days that I felt safe on the set were the ones where co-star Simon Baker was also there. Why? Because he was, quote, dumped like a hot potato. Dumped like a hot potato. What is that? Is that gay slang? Because this is all, there's a whole bunch of like gay energy going on here between these three. Dumped. So what's his name here? Guy Pearce. Guy Pearce describes Kevin Spacey in 1997 as being scary and intimidating. And then Guy Pearce describes their co-star Simon Baker as being dumped like a hot potato. I don't know what that means. Guy Pearce said that his then wife, Kate Mezitz, had been there with him during filming and that he'd tell her that the only days he felt safe on set were the ones where his co-star Simon Baker was also there because he was, quote, dumped like a hot potato, and Spacey focused on Baker since he was 10 times prettier than I am. All right, so see what I mean about the homoerotic thing? Is dumped like a hot potato? Is that a gay world thing? I don't know what that means. Dumped like a hot potato. Oh, wait a second. Oh, is he saying, because that makes sense. Now look at me trying to figure out gay lingo. It's not gay at all. I think that what Guy Pearce is saying is that Kevin Spacey sexually harassed him every day on the set, except on the days when Simon Baker was there, because Simon Baker is hotter, Guy Pearce is saying, than him, Guy Pearce. And he's saying that on those days, Guy Pearce was dumped like a hot potato. I get it now. All right. He said that his then wife, Kate, said, okay, we got that. All right. Guy Pearce said on the podcast, this is just a couple days ago, Guy Pearce said on the podcast that while he didn't want to use the word victim, I don't want to use the word victim, but I'm going to put it out there because none of you have been thinking it about me. So I'm just going to float it out there. But I don't want to say victim. But you should be thinking of me as a victim. He said, I don't want to say the word victim. He brushed off the encounters and went, no, that's nothing, for 5 months. It wasn't until 2017 when the Me Too movement started gaining traction that everything came to light. All right, so let's break this down for old Guy Pearce, who ain't done a damn thing in Hollywood for like 20 years, but now is suddenly back with The Brutalist. All right, so he's back with The Brutalist. We know Guy Pearce wasn't a movie star. 3 people were in that film, L.A. Confidential. 2 of them became big movie stars, Kevin Spacey and Russell Crowe. Guy Pearce, he did Memento, okay? He's not a big movie star. So he's struggling. So now 2017, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 years. 21 years after working with Kevin Spacey on L.A. Confidential, and 17 years after being the only star of L.A. Confidential not to become a big household name, Russell Crowe, Kevin Spacey, Kim Basinger. In 2017, he decides that, oh yeah, I was a victim back then. Big masculine man, actor Guy Pearce. It wasn't until 2017 that he really recognized how horrible that time was and how he'd never truly gotten over it. You gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Pearce said on the podcast that while he didn't want to use the word victim, he brushed off the encounters and went, it's nothing, for about 5 months. But it was 5 months. Next sentence is, it wasn't until 2017. Oh, maybe it was 5 months you had to put up with this. I don't know. It wasn't until 2017 when the Me Too movement started gaining traction that everything came to light. And I decided I could leverage this for a little bit of attention because nobody had seen or heard from me since LA Confidential. I'm sorry, Amy saw Amy in the Pugs Rant chat room saw me in Memento. No, I'm kidding. I saw Memento too. But he's not a big movie star is my point. He's not Leo DiCaprio. He ain't Russell Crowe is my point. I heard these stories about Kevin Spacey sort of officially as these news stories, he recalled, of the Me Too movement in 2017. I was in London working on something and I heard this and I broke down and I just sobbed. I couldn't stop. So Guy Pearce, who's nominated for an Oscar this year for The Brutalist, in 2017 was in London and saw news reports of Kevin Spacey when Kevin Spacey was being accused. So he's in London. He saw news reports of Kevin Spacey, and he just broke down crying. Guy Pearce. It was 18 years, and I'm a victim, and I started crying. Oh, fuck you. Yeah, you pussy. Seriously. What are we doing here, Guy Pearce? Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. Kevin Spacey went through the ringer. Is he a creep? Yeah. Did he pay the price for it? No, because he beat every charge. It's just what we got to deal with now. Kevin Spacey beat every charge. We know he's a creep. I would like to continue watching him act. He's good. Aunt Jemima lawn jarts Kevin Spacey. Bring them all back. I don't care. People act like, I need to like the actors that I say. No, you don't. You know who I don't need to like? Guy Pearce. Although, I am over the next couple of days probably going to watch The Brutalist, so I might like him. I might be like, hey, that Guy Pearce for such a pussy sir can't act. This is irredeemable pussy-like behavior. In 2017, he heard about Kevin Spacey harassing other people and was instantly brought back to the victim. He doesn't want to say he's a victim, but was instantly, after like 20 years, taken back, and I started to cry. No, you didn't. You're lying. You're a disingenuous bullshit artist like half the people in fucking Hollywood. You want me to believe you were walking down the street, saw a newspaper that said Kevin Spacey was being accused of sex harassment, and you started crying because of an experience from 18, you fucking woman. Ugh. And I don't mean that. A lot of women, trust me, I was raised by a single woman. I don't mean that. I just mean that in a way that was probably ill-advised. Point is this. You're out of your mind, Guy Pearce. I heard these stories about Kevin from official news sources, he recalled. I was in London working on something and I heard this and I just broke down and sobbed. And I couldn't stop. Well, then you're fucking mentally deranged. You couldn't stop? Here's more quotes from him. And I think it really dawned on me the impact that had occurred and how I'd sort of just brushed it off and how I shelved it or blocked it out or whatever. Let's break it down. He wasn't raped, touched, groped, fondled, forced into anything by Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey, a gay man, made a pass at him on a movie 25 years ago. That's it. That's it. And I think it really dawned on me that the impact of being flirted with by a gay man had. This is absurd. This is why people hate Hollywood. Are you fucking kidding me? And I think it really dawned on me the impact that it occurred and how I sort of brushed it off and how I shelved it or blocked it or whatever. That was a really incredible wake-up call, Pearce continued. Noting that he also had a couple of confrontations with Spacey post 2017 that got ugly. Oh yeah. 2017, post the whole Kevin Spacey's a piece of shit movement. 2017, you ain't worked in years, but now you're comfortable going up to him at and calling him out. I was a victim, Kevin. Guy Pearce sucks. This whole story sucks. All right, but it didn't just start over the weekend. Guy Pearce, this goes back 2 years. I'm going to show you a clip of Guy Pearce from 2 years ago on an Australian talk show saying the exact same thing. Except nobody cared back then because 2 years ago, Guy Pearce was a guy who has never done anything. 2 years ago, Guy Pearce was still just an actor who failed, a has-been. 2 years ago, Guy Pearce wasn't promoting his Oscar-nominated film, The Brutalist. So 2 years ago, this is Guy Pearce trying to leverage the Kevin Spacey name in the controversy for his own glory. 2 years ago. Here we go. Watch this from Australia.
I had a chance to work with some pretty exceptional people. I'm going to throw a few names at you. I'll be interested to know what your response is to them. Kate Winslet.
I mean, divine. Absolutely divine. She was going through a divorce, and she was in every scene that we filmed in this miniseries, Mildred Pierce. She was such a trooper. She worked so hard. She had tons of dialogue. She was such a pro, obviously, and she's so divine. She's funny and witty and just.
By the way, if you're bored of this, I suggest you read what Adam is saying in the chat room. Oh boy!
It's delightful. So I loved every minute with her.
And weirdly, she was a fan of yours from Neighbours.
Well, not so much weirdly.
Well, no, that must have seemed weird.
Why not? I would say, but I get your point.
Yes.
She did like Jason too, but yes. Yeah. She said it was always Mike for me. And we share a birthday, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey, who you worked with on LA Confidential.
Yeah. Yeah. Tough one to talk about at the moment. Yeah. Amazing actor.
Tough one to talk about at the moment, but I really do want to talk about it because it's relevant and I'm completely irrelevant. So we are going to talk about it, but I'm going to pretend like it's difficult for me to talk about.
Yeah. Incredible actor. Slightly difficult time with Kevin. Yeah.
The time you were working with him?
Yeah. He's a handsy guy.
Oh, okay. We'll leave.
Yeah, well, you're a fucking man, okay? If another man touches you in a way that you don't like, you make it clear in that moment that that's not what you're into. But you're not a man. You're like this weird British hybrid, sophisticated femi boy. Yes, he's handsy. He glanced my buttocks. So what you do as a man, when a man hits on you and you don't appreciate it, you let it be known. Now, you don't let it be known like some meathead jagoff. You say, hey, excuse me, I don't appreciate that. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. But no, 17 years. Remember, this guy now, he's laughing about it. He's on TV and he's calling him handsy. But remember, this guy now says that at this time when he learned about these stories, he broke down uncontrollably on the streets of London. This fucking guy.
Yeah, thankfully.
Parasite. He's a famed parasite.
I was 29 and not 14.
Yeah, interesting. We'll leave.
Yeah.
Now, we've got Kevin Spacey because Kevin Spacey's got nothing to lose. Kevin Spacey's got no career to speak of. And again, I've been saying this the whole time. I'm not going to go deep into what Adam is saying because Adam is just completely wrong. He just believes, always the victim. If you claim you're a victim, Adam is there, doesn't want to hear any facts. You're just a victim, and we believe all victims no matter what. And I'm here to tell you that a lot of people have figured out that there is commerce in playing the victim role. Guy Pearce, right here. This was years before he was relevant. He's relevant again because of the movie The Brutalist. But yet, clip we just played, years before he was relevant, he was struggling. Nobody knew who the fuck Guy Pearce was. Hadn't seen him in anything in years. He's doing like these small films. He was supposed to be a movie star. I mean, just look at what happened with Russell Crowe. Why did Russell Crowe get to go be a big movie star? And me, Guy Pearce, I'm on an Australian talk show talking shit about Kevin Spacey because he grabbed my ass once when I was just a kid. So I was 29 and I went home to my wife and I said, but I'm just a kid. Oh God, everything about this story makes me just want to vomit one and then punch Guy Pearce in the face. Why? Because I know he won't do anything back because I know he's just a super pussy. Here's Kevin Spacey. By the way, Kevin Spacey's not exactly a masculine guy either, but kind of adds to my whole argument. Kevin Spacey is not a threat to any other man. If you're a guy and Kevin Spacey hits on you, you shouldn't be afraid. Certainly not a guy like Guy Pearce, who has made money playing tough guys, playing, at LA Confidential. He was a cop. He was a detective. He was a hardcore street guy. Anyway, here's Kevin Spacey. Oh, my hat is turning into a noggin condom. Here we go. Kevin Spacey responding to Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce, I've now read the comments that you made about me, and while I would have preferred not to have to play this out in the media, you obviously have your own reasons for wanting to do exactly that. But we worked together a long time ago. If I did something then that upset you, you could have reached out to me. We could have had that conversation. But instead, you've decided to speak to the press, who are now, of course, coming after me because they would like to know what my response is to the things that you said. You really want to know what my response is? Grow up. Did you also, by the way, tell the press that a year after we shot LA Confidential, you flew to Savannah, Georgia, while I was shooting Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, just to spend time with me? I mean, did you tell the...
All right, so are you following that? Kevin Spacey's like, hey, guy, remember when we hooked up? Remember when you came down after? Kevin Spacey's now saying, hey, dude, we did it. I got you, man. We did it. I don't know. Is Guy Pearce married? Isn't he married to somebody? Wasn't Guy Pearce married to somebody way more famous than him? I don't know. Kevin Spacey basically suggesting that he hooked up with Guy Pearce during filming for Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Midnight, we shot LA Confidential. You flew to Savannah, Georgia, while I was shooting Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, just to spend time with me? I mean, did you tell the press that too?
No.
Or does that not fit into the victim narrative you have going?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I apologize that I didn't get the message that you don't like spending time with me. I mean, maybe there was another reason, I don't know. But that doesn't make any sense that you would have just been leading me on, right? But here you
leading me on!
You are now on a mission some 28 years later, after I've been through hell and back, to do what? Just in time to stop the bad guy? Huh? Is that what's going on here? What took you so long? Did your horse run out of gas? I mean, you want to have a conversation? I'm happy to do so anytime, any place. We can even do it here, live on X if you like. I've got nothing to hide.
Oh, he ain't doing that.
But Guy, you need to grow up. You are...
No, you are not a victim, Guy Pearce. Kevin Spacey. I love that guy. That was one of his best performances. That dude is intense. That guy can act. Have you ever seen Swimming with Sharks? That's the best Kevin Spacey movie. No, Usual Suspects is pretty good. Swimming with Sharks is really good, man. House of Cards. God, he's great. He's great. He's also a super creep. He's also a guy who's not afraid to shoot his shot. And because he's not handsome, like if he's more handsome, I bet he wouldn't be in any trouble if he was more handsome. But he's not like a super handsome guy. So when he shoots his shot, people are like, horrified. I see what Adam's doing. He's just like flooding the zone with all of these things about what a terrible person I am because I don't believe that Guy Pearce is an actual victim, because I gotta keep space in my heart for real victims, real people, real. He's calling me out. He's saying, if you were a real human, I'm please stop it. You're just being worked over because you are geared, Adam. You are geared to find some kind of glory in being a white knight for everything. Any situation where somebody seems like they're being victimized, you ask no questions. You're always on their side, protect them, defend them. And God forbid the person being accused is a white man. I mean, then Adam is just like, no questions need to be asked. Although this situation is interesting because it's two white men. He's protecting two white men. He's not protecting. He's on the side of the closeted gay man, Guy Pearce, and he's just openly going after that monster gay man, Kevin Spacey. This one's got to be confusing for you, Adam, because there's so many things here. Stop it, humanist. Yeah, Guy Pearce is a pussy, dude. That's all I'm saying. Guy Pearce is a pussy. There is no reason that he should be taking up space here promoting himself for an Oscar. He's back. Good for him. He's back. He's in a movie that people care about for the first time in 20 years. He's back. And he's going to use that to like restoke this. Give me an Oscar because I was victimized by that monster. Fuck you. That's exactly what this is. This is no. I was just a kid. I was young. You were 29 and married, dude. You were 29 and married. And by the way, Kevin Spacey's not that much older than you. Kevin Spacey was like 32. I was a kid. How old were you? I was 29. And then I asked my wife. I thought you said you were a kid. I was. Child bride. He's trying too hard to be a victim here. Crying in 2017 when the memories flooded back. And then to have Kevin Spacey be like, dude, you fucking flew and hung out with me and, we hooked up. Like a year later, I thought we were good. But, yep, there we are. Anyway, the whole world decided to kick Kevin Spacey in the nuts. And I think a couple of years ago, Guy Pearce, who had nothing going on, decided, hey, I got a story. Someone will listen to this story because I'm going to kick Kevin Spacey in the nuts too. I was a victim. I'm a victim. There are real victims. There are real victims that need 100% of our compassion. Guy Pearce is not one of them, but he definitely wants the credit for being a victim. What is this? Oh, wait, what is this next thing that I have? This next thing I have is she a victim? Hold on. What is this? I got to look at this for a second. I don't remember what this is. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, so here's another example of someone we need to ask ourselves, is she a victim? I saw this virally today. Oh, that's why I put it here, because I thought it went with the whole Kevin Spacey, Guy Pearce thing. All right, so this is a viral video that's going around today. It's a woman, and the question is she a victim? Okay, here she is. This is a woman doing something with her phone on some steps out in public. Let's watch, shall we? Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, so that's the crime that just occurred there. She's setting up a phone. I don't know what she's doing. These kids with their phones, they record everything. She's setting up a phone on some steps, and some happy dude, born in the 1960s, I'm sure, some happy dude bounds up the steps and goes, it's a pretty nice view. Ha ha, and moves on. The kind of thing that everybody said all the time back when people liked each other. Now we all hate each other, and nobody can pay a compliment to anybody because lest that compliment be given by an ugly person, suddenly now you're a sexual deviant. That dude was handsome and complimented her butt. She'd be like, oh, thank you. But no, let's watch it. Okay, so here we go again. The question, is she a victim?
Not gonna lie, I'm not feeling very nice because of what that man just said. I just hate.
She's complaining because the positivity of her run has now been ruined because of what that man just said. What that man just said in passing, that's a nice sight. That's all he said. That's all he said. Inappropriate? Maybe. Illegal? No. Is she a victim? Fuck you! You're not a victim. You should be complimented. Your ass looks fucking nice. I know it's creepy because he was unattractive, and at this point you become a victim. But if he was George fucking Clooney who walked by and said nice ass, you'd be like, eh. Actually, maybe not even George Clooney. He's too old. Timothy Chalamet walks by and goes, nice ass. You ain't running and crying and talking about how your run has been ruined because now you're a victim of harassment. No, you're not. Shut up, victim of harassment. Nice ass. Nice poop shoot, sweetie. I didn't just victimize you. What I did was I said your ass looks good in those yoga pants.
Hey, I'm not feeling very nice because of what that man just said. Not gonna lie, I'm not feeling very nice because of what that man just said. I just hate stuff like that. It makes me feel really horrible. So I just gotta keep running through it.
Okay. So she has been triggered now, and she's just gonna keep running through it because a man complimented her ass. Jesus Christ, these women, you would have never made it. You would have never survived being born in the 1960s. You know, men were like, we used to grab girls' butts. Wrong? Yes, of course. But we did it, and nobody went to jail. 15, 16 years old. Hey, nice ass. Boom. And you'd pat a girl on the butt. Nobody went to jail. Nobody found trouble getting a job 20 years later. Not saying it was right. I'm just saying it was something that happened, and no, there are no victims. You just admitted to raping women on the street. No, I didn't. At 15 years old, we used to grab girls' butts. That's what we did. Now, if my 15-year-old grabs a girl's butt, he going to jail. He ain't never going to go to college. There ain't never going to be any... I mean, don't get me wrong. I advise him not to grab girls' butts. That is not something we do. Different era. But back then, we didn't think it was all that big of a crime. Now we look at it differently. Now we're like, okay, now it's a crime because power dynamics. We learned all kinds of new words. And some of us are like, okay, I can see that. I can see how that's a problem and we shouldn't do it. Mental note. Can't do that anymore. But also, can we not compliment women? Like, if I see... I want to compliment women all the time, but I don't. You know why? Because I'm ugly. And I know that when an ugly person compliments a woman, even if it's just in passing, it stops being a compliment, and all of a sudden now it's a threat. And now I've created another victim. Because I told that woman in Kroger that I really liked her shoes. She's now a victim because the ugly man has... Oh my God, I'm on the ugly man's radar. Oh, can I walk through a parking lot? Everybody wants to be a victim. And almost none of you are. None of you. The commerce of victimhood. All right, let's go. What else do we have here? Here's some crazy people we can make fun of. This is a story that I just became aware of this morning. Actually, that's not true. I saw it. It was floating around last night, and I was like, I don't have any interest in that. And then I start reading about it this morning, and I'm like, okay. You guys know about this Zizian cult? There's a new cult. It's a new cult, the Zizians. The Zizians. Here's what they are. Oh, first of all, they're like, well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you we'll just go with exactly the way they prefer to be described. A Zizian cult leader has been arrested. Here's what we know about the vegan transgender group of computer geniuses. Oh, whoa. We got ourselves a really interesting cult that has just been exposed. The Zizians. They are all trans, they are all vegans, and they are all computer geniuses. They're all like all of MIT and Stanford and like 200 IQs, a lot of them. So let's learn about the Zizians and what they did. Well, they killed a bunch of people. They killed like 4 people right now. A couple days ago, they killed, not a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago, they killed a border patrol guy up there in New Hampshire. Yeah, I say border patrol, and you're like, oh, Mexican southern border. No, they killed a dude up at the northern New Hampshire or some shit. I didn't even know there was a border on New Hampshire. I don't know where New Hampshire is. I mean, I know the general area, but if you just gave me like a blank slate and showed me said, fill in the northeastern seaboard, I'd be like, it would be so wrong. First of all, in my mind, I think Boston is south of New York, and I know that Boston isn't south of New York, but I just always, so I would put Boston south of New York, like Boston would go where New Jersey is. Anyway, they killed a border guard up there in New Hampshire, and then they killed a rancher in Southern California. They killed him, and then they killed other people. Anyway, let's learn about them. The Zizians. All right, here we go. Mysterious alleged Zizian cult leader Jack Lasota, was arrested alongside an accomplice in Maryland on Monday evening. The elusive head of the largely transgender vegan group had gone as far as to apparently fake his own death to avoid scrutiny. However, at the time, hold on, sorry, I'm having a problem here. However, at the time Lasota's arrest, you forgot to put "of" in their newspaper. However, at the time of Lasota's arrest, he was wanted in both California and Pennsylvania. Taken into custody alongside Lasota were alleged followers Daniel Blank, 26, Michelle Zacco, 32, a person of interest in the double murder of her parents. Oh, she murdered her parents. Their deaths are 2 of 4 that have been linked to the occult. So we got 2 parents are dead. The rancher in Southern California is dead, and the Border Patrol agent in New Hampshire is dead. Curtis, oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry. Having problems with Curtis Lind was murdered in Vallejo, California on January 17th, 2025. He's an old man. He owned a ranch where these cult members were living, and the cult members decided not to pay rent and that they wouldn't have to pay rent if they just killed him. So that happened on January 17th. November 13th, 2022, Emma Borhanian was killed. Apparently she was a member. Oh, okay, there we go. Sorry. So they killed Curtis Lind, who was an old man who owned property where the cult was living. Previously to them killing Curtis Lind had killed one of the cult members named Emma Borhanian. So, all right, there you go. January 20th, a couple weeks back, 2025, Border Patrol agent David Mayland was murdered during a traffic stop in Vermont, not New Hampshire. Let's see here. And Richard and Rita Zako, they are the parents of one of the cult members. They were killed. So basically, here's the thing with these people. They are like doomsday cultists who believe that they have figured out the human mind. Here's the cult leader. Let's look at this guy. Boy, I'll tell you, this guy looks like a cult leader. Look at him. Look at that dude. Look at him. That's scary. That guy, he's the cult leader. I think he's a dude. I think he's a guy. I don't know how this works now. They were all like trans, but they're on trial. Are they on trial for their birth names? I don't know. Anyway, look into it. There's some weird people. The Zizian cults. That's Jack Lasota. That was his name, Jack Lasota. He's the leader. Let's learn a little bit about him, shall we? Police say members of the Zizian group could number as high as 30, and they appear to be mainly young trans women who are math and computer geniuses. Most previously worked for NASA, Google, and on Wall Street. Yeah, they have money, you guys. They rent these mansions, and they live in these mansions in Connecticut and New Hampshire with all their Wall Street and Google money. Both investigators and people who know the Zizians told this paper that many of them have been estranged from their parents. Some are thought to be on the autism spectrum. Yeah, I'm guessing. I'll tell you something. I mean, I don't know if this is this a controversial thing to say? I would like to see an investigation into people who identify as trans and whether or not they're on the autism spectrum. I would like to see what that looks like, because I think a lot of them are. Yeah, I'm saying that kind of shit now. That's with Aunt Jemima, lawn jarts, Kevin Spacey movies. What else do I want? I want to see a comprehensive study into trans people and how that correlates to the autism spectrum. I'd love to see that. I think that can answer a lot of things. All right. Let's see, what else do we have here? I don't want to talk about the Zizians anymore. They're a bunch of... Here's the thing. Jack Lasota, the leader of the Zizians, believed that he had a breakthrough with the brain. He thinks he understands how to use his brain. You know, they say we're only using 5% of our brain or whatever. Jack Zizian thinks he's figured out how to use like upwards of 80% of his brain. I don't know. I think what comes with that, like psychic ability. Do I need a remote anymore? Can I just change the channel now? I don't know what happens when I tap into more than whatever it is that we're working with now. But he convinced his people that he knew how to do it and that he could teach them how to do it. And all of these people were already really smart and probably autistic. Cult! You got a cult! I always wanted to start a cult. I thought this thing every day at noon could be like a cult, but quite frankly, I don't work hard enough for this to be a cult. I don't want to. That takes a lot of hours, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears go into getting a cult going. As it is, you know, we just do this every day at noon. Frankie Smith says, darn right, Pugs. I have no idea what else he's going to say, but anyone who starts out a comment with darn right, Pugs, you've got my attention. Darn right, Pugs. People are afraid to say anything about autism, which wasn't a thing in the 80s. Not 30% of the population. Here's the thing. Whole bunch of it. I don't know, like... So first of all, Frankie, you're right. Nobody talked about autism in the 70s and 80s, right? I went to school, I believe, with shit tons of kids who would now be on the spectrum. They were just the weird kids. That's all. They were just socially awkward, weird kids, don't know how to talk to girl, eats paste, that kind of thing. You know, that was it. And they were fine. And they were integrated seamlessly with the rest of us. And, you know, everybody had a weird friend. My friend Frank. I had a buddy named Frank. I love Frank. Frank's like the best. Frank's on the spectrum. He's absolutely on the spectrum. Absolutely. He's like one of my best friends. I think like the first time I remember, we first became aware, I say the collective we, Gen X, if you will, Rain Man. That was it. That was our introduction to autism. Like Rain Man, severe. That's the first thing. Then we start to hear that like there's all these degrees of it. And that then this new word comes up. There's a spectrum. Some people are at the apex. Some people are, you know, so I don't know. I sometimes think that autism or the spectrum, I mean, all of us are somewhere on the spectrum. And I really do kind of think it has something to do with, remember I was talking about we only use 4% of our brains, and, you know, there are scientists who believe that as we evolve, we tap into more and all that. Okay. Maybe that's what autism is. Maybe that's just people just evolving at people's brains just evolving at different paces. What seems to be odd, you know, what seems to be like, you know, awkward based on these times, maybe in a number of years that'll be normal. You know, hey, being awkward socially used to be like the main component of how you would determine if somebody was on the autism spectrum or not. They're a little bit awkward in situations. They don't really fit in the way other people do. Yeah, that used to be the way we figured it out. But we don't need that anymore because there are less and less social situations that our children need to be prepared for. All our kids need to be is good in a chat room. All our kids need to be is, you know, good online and digitally and with texts. Less and less our kids are actually finding themselves in situations where they're hanging out with their buddies and busting balls face to face and learning how to be insulted while staying in the same room as the person who insulted you. Learning how to be a victim and what being a victim is. I was victimized. I was bullied. They all started picking on me. Yeah, that's what hanging out with a group of dudes is like. But maybe we don't need those skills anymore. So the awkwardness that maybe thrives online with, you know, people who are on the autism spectrum, that awkwardness is about to become the norm. And I don't know. Who knows what this is all going to look like in 200 years? People, you know, shit changes. So I don't know. Jeff says, I join your cult, but you can't have my money or have sex with me. I don't want to have sex with you, Jeff. in my cult. I don't want to have sex with you. You're fine. Send me some pictures of your wife. I need to see what your wife looks like. Men, dudes joining my cult. If you got a hot wife, you're in. If you got a hot wife and you adhere to the rules of my cult. Here are the rules of my cult. As the cult leader, I get to have sex with anybody anytime I want. If you're in my cult, I am your sex god. And don't worry, I'm not a big sex guy. It's not going to be, if I'm being honest, like once every 6 weeks or something. I mean, I don't really need it. I might make your wife walk around in negligees and stuff like that. I might do that kind of stuff. Also, no kids. No kids in my cult. All right? Not even 8. I don't even want 18, 19, 25. You got to be over 25 to be in my sex cult. Which, if we're being honest, not going to be a whole lot of sex. Sex is weird. You guys can have sex. I don't mind that. You guys can have all the sex you want. But not with each other's wives. That's right. I'm the only one that gets to have sex with the wife of my choice. I'm the only one. Because if I allow you guys to start having sex with each other's wives, that's going to cause fights and there's going to be disharmony. No. But you all do agree that should I want to have sex with your wife, I can. All right. You get pregnant, you're out. You're gone. This is a death cult. This isn't a life cult. Okay? No second generation cultists. We are ride or die. The group of us. I'm also probably going to have a lot of really good ideas. Like at our meetings, we'll have meetings every night where I'll have a throne. It'll be in a funky living room of a rental house, but it'll be like the living room will have a throne, and I'll sit in the throne, and you guys will all gather. I don't know if I want sweatpants. I think I want to let you dress. Yes, I want to let you dress the way you want to dress. Right? So no sweatpants. You are going to be able to dress any way you want to dress. However, if your fashion sense displeases me, you will be kicked out of the cult. I don't want anybody who can't dress. You know what I mean? If we're going to have chicks and stuff, they got to be able to dress like hot chicks. They got to be able to dress good. Dudes, you need to be able to just, no douchebaggy affliction shirts. No, you're gone. No football jerseys. No. So dress code, wow me is what I'd say about my cult's dress code. Any other thoughts on my cult? A name. We're going to need a name for this thing. Well, I'll leave it to you guys. That's what I do. I empower you guys. That's why you follow me. I empower you to do things like cut the grass, buy the food. I empower you to do things like make sure that the rent is paid around here. What the fuck? I empower you to make sure that the internet is working. Make sure we set the throne room, right? Whatever house in Richardson that we end up renting for this cult that we're starting, whatever room we put the throne in, make sure it's got good Wi-Fi. I don't want to be on my throne listening to all your problems, scrolling TikTok and not have a good connection. All right, guys, that's going to do it. It was 16 minutes. We went 16 minutes longer than 2 hours. I was just riffing there on my cult. I'm going to give some thought to it. You give some thoughts to my cult as well if you want to join. I think I got Frank. Is Frank in? Frank's in my cult. Jeff's in. Jeff's in pending a picture of his wife. I got to see what he's bringing to the party. Anybody got by the way, this needs to be said. Nah, never mind. It doesn't need to be said. It doesn't need to be said. It was a funny thought. And even though Trump won in November, I'm still not sure that funny thought is appropriate. Certainly not with Adam lurking. There you go. I was just going to make an off-color joke, and I didn't do it because of Adam. There you go, chat room. Yeah, Adam is the reason that I pulled back, because I know there's a super sensitive humor governor out there. I don't know why I'm breaking on Adam. Because he said I wasn't a humanist. That's why. That's why I'm breaking bad on Adam. Pope Francis hospitalized, double pneumonia in both lungs. Sorry, we got breaking news. I gave you that news 2 hours ago and 26 hours ago. Pope Death Watch. What did we set it at? Noon tomorrow, right? Like by start of the show tomorrow. I think the Pope will be dead. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'm not Catholic anymore, so I don't really know what the appropriate way to. Al says he's in. Al is in on the chat or in on the cult. I'm in. Please take my Olive Garden Italian wife. Nice. Okay. Well, there's no guarantee that I'm going to want to do her, Al. But, thank you for offering. That's nice. Nice. By the way, should you all join my cult and I do choose to have sex with your wife, that is a compliment to you. That is me deciding that you have a hot wife. Sorry, not a hot wife. You have a wife that embodies the heavenly whatever that I need to. You get it. It's all like a cult thing. Trust me, I'll work on the verbiage. I'll come up with it. I got nothing else. It's cold, and I've still got like another hour and a half that I need to spend here in the meat locker that we call the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios at the beautiful E Gallery. So, although if I'm being honest, it's not as cold as I really thought it was. I was prepared for it to be really cold. It's cold, but it's not that cold. I got nothing else. Totally out of gas. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at noon. Bye, everybody. RadioMisfits.com. I am Pugs Moran. This has been The Rant, the RadioMisfits.com podcast network for all your podcast needs. Join us tomorrow at noon for another rant here from me, Pugs Moran, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E Gallery in Dallas's Design District. I say, arrivederci.